Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Mic Check Podcast. I'm your host, T Word the People's Champ. Thank you for joining, clicking on this video. Today, we're going to talk about a little bit of football. On the agenda, we have a conversation I'd love to have with you guys about Sean Payton, the New Orleans Saints, and Tom Brady. Now, you're probably thinking to yourself already, that seems like such an odd mix. But the reason I'm bringing this up is because the NFL season is coming to a close, and Tom Brady's not having the best of seasons. Sean Payton has been sitting out for a full year since retiring at the end of the 2021 season. And things are starting to come into focus for the spring of 2023 when teams are going to be looking for head coaches, quarterbacks, and additional players, and also other staff to fill out their roster and their coaching staffs. Okay. So the reason I'm bringing this up is because I was sitting there thinking to myself, what are the Saints going to do in 2023 because the Dennis Allen experiment isn't working? Now, I'm not calling for his job, but I do believe that he's not a good fit as a head coach, and it's showing up between the chalk Sunday after Sunday after Sunday. Well coached teams tend not to lose close games, and they also beat the hell out of teams that they have obvious advantages over. They also find ways to overcome things like injuries to key positions outside the quarterback. Sometimes you just can't get over that. And just different off the field stuff that the better teams always seem to find a way to overcome these things. And the Saints just don't seem to have that. They've got the tools. They've got plenty of great players. They have plenty of great assistant coaches, but the head coach is kind of like the ringmaster. And if he's not in tune with his job, or if he's not fully equipped to do the job, you're going to fail or you're going to have limited success. This is a team that beat the Raiders, skunked them, blew them out, goose egged them. But then this same team had to come back in the first game of the year against Atlanta, who's really not that good. Um, Different things like that make you wonder, what's this team going to do going forward in 2023? One possible thing is an interview that recently occurred with Sean Payton, where he talked about his potential return to the NFL and as early as 2023. And the Saints was one of the teams he would consider. So maybe he was just burnt out. He needed a year off. And if you think about his history, Sean Payton was given a year off against his will in 2012 after coaching the Saints starting back in 2006. So he had about 6 or 7 seasons straight where he's on the sideline, he's doing everything. 2012, he's booted from the league because of the Bounty Gate situation, a farce if you ask me. And then he comes back in 2013 rejuvenated. He takes a ragtag team into the playoffs, and they did really well, getting the first playoff win on the road for the Saints in team history. So he has 3 losing seasons. In the process, he boots out some coaches that needed to go, reset his roster, as every team should every so many years, and then went on a nice 4 to 5 year run of success with some really good players, some really great drafts, and things like that. So he's been in position to turn his team over, but with that little break, I feel like it rejuvenated him to get back to what he loved about football. He needed that time off, and now he's had a year off. I've seen him on Colin Cowherd's show. He seems to enjoy talking ball, talking football, but I think he really loves coaching, and I feel like he really loves the way that the organization in New Orleans supported him, and he understands how the city works. He understands that he's probably going to be coaching in the division more years than not, so he'll have a good chance to pad his record and lay out a path to Hall of Fame. Now, here's where Brady comes in. Tom Brady is going to be out of his contract here. He has an option to leave Tampa, right? He could retire. And given his personal situations, I'm not going to go into that because that's not my business. He could move on and do something else somewhere, just a fresh start, get away from the memories because he's got a lot going on. A couple years ago, when Drew Brees retired, Tom Brady was on Sean Payton's radar. With the skill set that Tom Brady has and his understanding of the game, and the way that Sean Payton has created such a QB friendly offense, you'd have to think this might be a really good marriage, at least for a season, just to get things going and fill the gap while the Saints go a season without a first round pick. You bring in Tom Brady, you get back to your winning ways, you shift the culture again, and all of a sudden you find you're back in the driver's seat of success in the NFC South. You also weaken the division opponent because if you take Tom Brady from Tampa, they're not even bad like they are right now. they're really bad because that's kind of the only thing that holds them together, his expertise and experience. And even that hasn't really been enough. But you put him on a team like New Orleans that's going to be better coached, and you can see some really good things happen. Now, I say all that, and I'm not a big fan of the idea. I'd rather see the Saints bring in maybe a Matt Ryan or something like that. And you may laugh at this, but if you pair him with Sean Payton, you could see some success because he's mostly going to hand the ball off to Alvin Kamara and whatever other great running back they draft, or he's going to be dinking and dunking to some really sure-handed receivers like Chris Olave, maybe Michael Thomas, and maybe even Juice Landry. All of that leads me to believe that Sean Payton could potentially return, but he's going to need the right quarterback. The Saints don't have that for him right now. Now, granted, he kind of co-signed Jameis Winston, but I don't know that he was completely sold. And then Jameis got injured in 2021. This year, he's played even less, so I kind of see him heading on to greener pastures somewhere else. Andy Dalton definitely won't be brought back, and the Saints are going to be building from the ground up. And at this point, the Taysom Hill that Sean Payton left in 2021 is never coming back. So he can't even play that guy quarterback like he did in the past. It just wouldn't work. So I'm going to leave this question to you. What do you think? Would Sean Payton and Tom Brady converge on New Orleans and try to bring them back to playoff prominence? Or is this just a pipe dream that a good old fan is wishing for? Love to get your thoughts. This has been a Mike Check Podcast. I am T Word. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe to the channel. If you enjoy the content, share it with a friend. Please go ahead and like it because it does really help the channel grow. Feel free to donate to the Cash App if you choose. And have a great one. This has been T. I'm out. Peace.